Hey everybody, some Gadget Guy here with a quick smartphone showdown, fight for blood, keeping it all in the LG family, taking a look at the original LG G Flex and how we've evolved into the G Flex 2. Now, almost everything that I like about the original Flex has been improved upon with the G Flex 2. We've still got that really cool, dramatically curved screen going on. While I'm still not really a fan of glossy backplates, we still have the self-healing back, which should do a pretty decent job of minimizing the appearance of fine nicks and scratches on the back of your phone. Got the same back power button and volume rocker directly underneath the camera modules. And of course, now we've got a 1080p display as opposed to the 720p display, which drew the ire of many tech fans with the original G Flex. All in all, on paper, the G Flex 2 would seem to be a dramatic improvement over its predecessor. And while for the most part that is true, there are a few things that I found very interesting about how LG has moved forward with the follow-up to their original curved screen phablet. First of all, it's just not really a phablet anymore. Sure, we do have a 5.5-inch screen, and that is bigger than most other phones on the market. It's the same size screen as the screen found on the iPhone 6 Plus, for example. But of course, LG is amazing at developing phones that have humongous screens and then packing them into very space-conscious bodies and shells. And the G Flex 2 just feels utterly dwarfed in the hand when you compare it to the 6-inch display found on the original G Flex. And like the original Flex, these curves and tapers really do help ergonomically fit this phone into your hand. I like holding onto this phone better than I like holding onto any phablet that I've used in the past, and I definitely like holding onto it better than the G3. Now, a lot of our software and experiences navigating the UI are going to be very similar, very well considered. I love that LG lets you customize your hardware controls down at the bottom. I've become a big fan of tapping this little button right here to get to my notification tray. And while there have been some performance concerns with the Qualcomm 810 in the G Flex 2, I think on the whole, even with the higher resolution display, it's still been a snappier experience than what I had with the original Flex. Shouldn't be too much of a surprise that the newer phone does seem to perform better than the older phone. But there are a couple things that I actually still prefer on the original Flex as opposed to its follow-up. First of all, we have these little windows right here, and on the G Flex 2, this is for the laser focusing system. However, on the original Flex, we didn't have laser focus, and this is actually the IR blaster for the remote. Really liked the experience of holding the phone upright and being able to see the screen while using the remote control app as opposed to holding it flat and trying to point it at my TV while skimming the top of the screen with my eyes to try and use the control app. It's such a first world problem, but I really did like this experience that LG provided by putting the IR blaster pointing out the back of the phone. While the camera hardware is noticeably better on the G Flex 2 thanks to optical image stabilization and the aforementioned laser focusing system, one thing that I really wish that they had kept going with their camera apps were the variety of features that you have access to when you're using the G Flex as opposed to the G Flex 2. So while I do like the simplicity of the camera app that you find on the G Flex 2 when you first fire it up, you've got one composition window, you can shoot photos or videos directly from one control area, you don't have to toggle between photos and videos like you do on the original G Flex. There's not really a lot to play with. You either have a completely stark screen experience or you have a very few minimum number of features, being able to turn on and off HDR, being able to control the resolution and the frame rate if you want to jump into slow motion video, having a few vocal commands if you want to say, you know, cheese or whiskey or LG to take a photo, and then a timer and the grid, and that's really about it. We've got some mode options for panorama and dual camera shot, but we don't have some of those really fine photography controls. We lost a bunch of these things from the original Flex. Let me flip into video mode here. So I can go into modes and I can do a bunch of fun things. There was a tracking zoom that worked okay, but it was still kind of fun to play with, and then all of these live effects that you could do, like you want to make someone's mouth super huge, big eyes, pin cushion the frame. You could do all of these really, really silly things, and they were kind of fun to play with. But we had better access over actual controls, things like the brightness, the white balance, these color effects. Even while shooting UHD video, you could increase or decrease the exposure and alter the white balance to make sure that you were shooting the best possible video you could shoot. And I think that's kind of sad. If I have better camera hardware, I'd actually like better control over that hardware. And this is a really difficult thing for me to demonstrate in my studio, lights are on, but I really do feel that the screen on the original G Flex is ever so slightly just a bit brighter than the screen on the G Flex 2. Which means when you're out and about doing things outside in direct sunlight, it's a little bit more difficult to see what's going on your G Flex 2 screen than on your original Flex screen. Lastly, while we're talking about improvements and changes, moving to a smaller shell, a smaller form factor, and a sleeker phone means that we did lose just a little bit of battery capacity. There's a 3500 milliamp hour cell in the original Flex, there's a 3000 milliamp hour cell in the G Flex 2, which again makes this really feel like it's more of a successor to the G3. It's sort of an offshoot or a tangent evolutionary design of the G3 than it does a follow-up to their big curved screen phablet. And another piece of evidence that I think this is a closer experience to the G3, this removable backplate, which gives us access to the SIM card slot and a micro SD card expansion port. While both of these are rocking the 32 GBs, this one you can add more GBs to. Though it does make me a little curious that if you were gonna go through the process of making a removable backplate to gain access to things like micro SD card slot expansion, why can I not pop out the battery on the G Flex 2? Is that still sealed in, just like on the OG G Flex? I know a lot of this is in response to the number of criticisms that LG faced with the original Flex, but for folks out there that liked the original Flex, this was a killer phone for the reasons of bigger screen, bigger battery. It's kind of interesting to me in that it leaves LG without a proper big screen mini tablet form factor. It's kind of funny that I get cranky about not being able to find high quality flagship phones with 4.7 to 5-inch screens anymore. And I'm sure there are a number of people out there that are gonna get really cranky about not having as many high quality flagship phablets with 6-inch screens anymore. We're all sort of meeting in the middle at this 5.1 to 5.5 inch size screen, be they phablets or flagships. But ultimately, I'm really happy to see LG continuing with this experiment. And in making the G Flex a little smaller, they made a better phone for me personally, so I'm actually really happy about that too. And of course, I want to hear from you guys, especially as we're starting to get into an era of more curved displays. Do you think LG's on track with the way that they're handling curved AMOLED displays? Giving us these bent phones, which fit in our hands a little bit better and then also match the contours of the human face? Or do you think we'll see better competition from Samsung and their Edge series phones? I absolutely want to hear your thoughts on that, so definitely drop me a comment down below. As always, folks, thanks so much for watching. Be sure to hit subscribe for more videos and comparisons like these, and I would not be able to continue producing on this channel if you all weren't out there sharing my videos with your family, friends, and on social media sites like Reddit and Facebook and Twitter and the Googles Plus. So keep bringing more cool people to the party. Hit that thumbs up button, and I will catch you all on the next comparison.